And one of the other questions that does come up quite a lot is cross-collateralization. And I know that's something that you prefer not to do because it does result in potential issues in the future when you're trying to basically decouple properties. But just because a property is secured against a debt doesn't mean it's tax deductible against that debt.
Correct.
The ATO will follow the cash flows. So effectively, whatever money is taken in order to purchase the property, that's the cash flow where the ATO will say that money from that loan was used to buy that property, therefore that loan there is tax deductible to that property.
Correct, yes. So what a lot of people don't realise that is if they pay down debt against the property, so they've paid down principal on that loan, effectively the deductibility of that repayment is gone forever. So maybe we'll also spend 2 minutes on kind of redraw versus offset, because this is also a very big question I have with people. The whole reason that, probably the main reason offset exists is, like most things in Australia, it's a tax consideration. So the ATO has a rule where if you have paid money on the loan, paid off the principal directly, and then you do a redraw in future, so that's where you take money out of the loan again, the amount that you've redrawn is not deductible for tax purposes anymore against the property, because you've paid it down and then taken it back out again. If you use offset though, so offset is a transaction account against the loan, whatever money is in that transaction account offsets the interest on the loan per month. So if your loan's $1 million, $100,000 in the offset, you're only paying interest on $900,000.
Yep.
But the offset account, you can move money in and out of it as much as you want, and because you've never paid down the principal of the loan is still always fully deductible for tax purposes in the future. So what I always recommend to clients, especially if it's, they might think it's something that they're going to move back into in 2 to 4 years, and they may think they may not need an offset account. You never know what can happen in the future. I mean, we see it here all the time, exactly like you said. They get posted to another place. It might be 5 years, 8 years, 10 years before they actually move.
Exactly.
Might be hard to go home, like, we enjoy Singapore too much.
Exactly. This is a conversation I have on a regular basis with my wife, where she always wants to pay the principal of the loan off. And I keep reminding her that it takes about 10 seconds to pay the principal off when you've got an offset account. All you need to do is transfer money from the offset account against the loan, and you've paid it off, so you might as well keep the flexibility. And
essentially putting money in the offset account, you've essentially repaid the loan from an interest calculation perspective, but you're keeping your options open for future tax deductibility on the property. So it's just something, it's a conversation I have every day. So going back to purchasing the future family home, what are some of the key benefits of buying the home now rather than waiting until you return?
Yeah, no worries. So that's a really good question, because it is an emotional purchase, and it's a difficult purchase as well, because if you're going to be living there, sometimes you want to go down there and get a feel for the property and decide whether it's a home for you. Some people are better at doing it than others, but the key benefits of doing it now rather than later on is today's prices rather than tomorrow's, and that's something that's a lot of us are speculating on. However, if we look at historical data, the Australian property market does continue to go up over the long run. So that's one of the key points. Getting the tax deductions as well. So tax deductions, so the tax credits. So basically, if I buy a property today and I move back in 3 years' time, I've got 3 years worth of tax credits that are going to accrue up until that point. And there's also the emotional piece as well. Basically, having a place to go back to. So as an expatriate, sometimes you feel a bit lost. Basically that, where do I call home? Actually having a house in your home state, home country can give you a bit of a plan to work towards.